So here we are going to add something to this framework. Let's go back to this circle. I'm going to take a new page. Okay. So here is a new page. We are going to draw the same circle like this up with the subconscious around. Good. Before we talked about having something inside consciousness, for example, the eye. This is something very natural. When you are conscious of my eye or of the MacBook, this is natural. So this is why we draw it like, we're going to put it in black color. This is natural in terms of positive or negative. Now let's talk about what is it, positive or negative. Positive or negative, what is it? Let's take another color. We will take blue and red. When you have a thought that is a bit different than being conscious of, for example, my eye. Now let's say you are conscious of a thought. You have a thought about, for example, the last girl, the last woman you've been talking with, that you felt very attracted about, and that she rejected you, for example. So you are being conscious of this the same way right now. This is what's the main thing in your consciousness, the thing that you are the more conscious about at that moment. This is this thought. But the thing to take into account is that everything that happens in consciousness, there can be a judgment around. There can be a judgment around, is it good or is it bad for me? And this is the key notion. For me, for you. Is it good or is it bad for you? And even when we talk about good or bad in general, or for humanity or whatever, really it comes down to you at the end. Is it good or bad for you? In this case, the thought about this woman, you don't judge it as good for you, you judge it as very bad for you. So we're going to draw it in red. This is a red thought. Hop, red. And what happens when you have something like that in your consciousness? A red thought. What happens is that it generates suffering. This is as easy as that. When you have something like this in your consciousness, it generates suffering. Okay, right now you might have a lot of objections because this is not complex enough. Now we are going to make it more complex later. But here we are laying the playground, the foundations. So let's stick with it. Now let's say you think about something else. You think about the girl you're going to see tomorrow that you really love and she loves you. It looks like that. She's very interested in you. You're going to have a date. Okay, let's say you don't feel stressed. You're just happy, okay, about it. This is good for you. Let's take this example. You have, in this case, let's take out the red up. In this case, you have blue thoughts, a blue one. This is the color I put to say good judgment around it. This is a thought in your consciousness. You have a very good judgment about it. Judgment for what? Remember, for you. This is the key point. This is not a neutral judgment. This is very selfish. Is it good or bad for me? For you? If the answer is yes, is it good for me or you? Then this is charged with a positive thing. There is a positive judgment around it. And we draw it in blue. When this happens, you feel happy. And we're going to be even more specific. You don't feel happy. You are happy. Happiness and suffering is a state of being. It's not an emotion. And this is the one of the big mistakes that we make about suffering and happiness. The thing is that because we don't work enough, like Buddhist monks, for example, we don't work enough on this thing, this framework of consciousness and of the thoughts and of the objects that comes into consciousness, because we don't investigate that, we are very limited in our understanding about it. And because of that, the only main way that we experience happiness, really, it is when we feel happy. And we call that feeling happy. But actually that's not. We don't feel happy. We feel something else. We feel excited. We feel curious. We feel validated or whatever. Feeling is about emotions. But there really is not emotions for happiness. This is just that emotions is another point in consciousness, really. Let's go back to the drawing. Let's say that now you feel happy, right? You feel happy. This is going to be another point here. A blue point, a positive point. You're feeling happy. Around this feeling, which is not really happiness, this is something else. This is, for example, excitement. Around this feeling is a judgment as well, as with all the other things. And this judgment is positive. Is this feeling good for me or bad for me? Yes, it is good for me. So there is a positive judgment around it. So this is blue. And what is it that generates happiness? The positive judgment. Having things in consciousness around which there is positive judgment for the self, this is good for me. The more we have that in consciousness, the mind, the more happiness is generated. If we investigate that really deeply, we can see that feeling good has nothing to do with being happy. It just happened to be the thing that naturally we judge the most as something good for us. This is as if you think about the thing you want the most in your life. Have this thought in your head. I want this and this. I want this kind of woman. I want this lifestyle. I want to live in this villa with a swimming pool in this city with a beach. I want to go to this kind of place. I want to have this job. I want to have this family, these friends. I think about a lot of things like this. I want to have this type of restaurant. I want to eat this type of food. Good. A lot of judgment, a lot of thoughts that have a positive judgment for you around. Feelings, they are really as powerful as that. Actually, the judgment around a feeling, a powerful feeling, is so big that it actually is the strongest type of thing that can be in consciousness that can generate happiness, because the judgment around it is so big that it has the biggest impact on generating happiness. This is why we linked happiness that much to feeling good. But if we work on this, it can be different. You can feel depressed and be extremely happy. This is possible. There is a work to be done in the mind to detach both of them, to have new judgment, either to just take it out of consciousness or just to change the judgment that is upon it. This requires a lot of work. A lot, really. This is a life goal. So we are not going to discuss that in this course. It requires a dedication that you really might not be interested in. We are here to talk about dating, being better with women. Let's not bother with going so deep about happiness, changing the judgments that are very deep and conscious, so that everything makes us happy. You might not even see why this is something we would want. So let's not talk about that. However, we need to understand that for the later tools that we're going to use for dating. So now that this is done, let's watch the second way to generate happiness. The second way to generate happiness might be very counterintuitive, but this is actually to get everything out of this. I'm going to draw another circle up. Let's draw a new circle up. It's going to be very counterintuitive, but if we have nothing in that circle, if we have nothing inside, if we're not having anything, or at least only things that are neutral. For example, you look at an object that is on your desk. Here it is, in your consciousness. And you are in a state of mind which is so sharp that nothing else comes into consciousness. There is only this. Really, actually, that would do that up. It takes all the consciousness. I'm never going to succeed in this drawing. Okay. And you have no blue or red. You have no thoughts. Nothing that is not neutral. In this situation, we live something that is sought after in Buddhist traditions with meditation. We are in a state of what we call being. If you read Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle, you know what it's about. But here again, let's not explain that. This is very esoteric. Let's not talk about it. Let's just consider the fact that it generates a lot of this happiness. But really, in that case, this is a type of happiness that is very different from what we are used to. Once again, what we are used to, us as Occidental or as people that don't practice in consciousness directly with meditation or other things, we experience happiness only through the positive judgments of things that happen in consciousness. We never have a chance to experience a state of consciousness where we only have neutral thing. Even if you look at my eyes and you focus on it, you're not going to have only neutral things in your consciousness. This is what we're going to talk in the next video, when we are going to make this model more complex, this framework more complex. But for now, let's stick with it. There is two ways to generate happiness. To have things in your consciousness with positive judgments around. For you, this is good. For me, for you. Or, and you might not be very familiar with it right now, or to only have things that are neutral, one or the other.